The President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Mensom, has asked parties and their counsel to make or rather move all appeals arising from election petition cases across the country to Abuja and Lagos Division of the Appellate Court. The order affects governorship and national and state assembly elections, which held between February and March of 2023. Although the appeals from the various state tribunals are supposed to be heard across the 20 appellate courts in the country, only 2 divisions of the court will preside over the election appeals. Sources at the Court of Appeals said the Abuja division will handle appeals from 19 northern states, while 17 southern state cases will be heard in Lagos. The directive was issued following allegations and petitions against the state tribunal judges. Some political parties and their candidates had alleged that the judges at the state tribunals have been compromised by governors. The aggrieved parties also expressed concerns that they may suffer the same fate if the appeals to be determined in the various states. Parties and councils are said to be complying with the fresh directive and moving their files to the 2 cities despite the huge cost. But the big question or the big story for today is this an indictment of the judiciary, and will a better outcome be seen at the end if they are carried all the way to Abuja and Lagos? These not also put more concern that there seems to be issues surrounding such judgments. Well, this directive and the move to do all of this will take center stage on the big story for today. And that is the Judiciary in Focus transfer of all election appeals to Abuja and Lagos. And that's what we're having as a major discourse today on the big story. And we're talking about the Judiciary in Focus and transfer of all appeal cases to Lagos and Abuja. And to truly help us talk about this, we're joined right here in the studio by a lawyer, a legal practitioner, to truly help us look at the issues as it concerns the appellate courts. And I'm talking of no other person but Barrister Emmanuel Iribi. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, my brother. Thank you very much.
And also you'll be joining us from Abuja via Zoom, and we're talking of no other but Dr. Wilson Omene, as a politician, helping us to also understand, and that's why I had to bring both of them, a politician and a lawyer, to, or rather a legal practitioner, to let us understand all of this. And I guess, good morning to you. Okay, when we do have him, definitely he'll be joining us and we'll be having his views as it concerns some of the salient issues that we'll be discussing. But let me quickly come to you now, and Barrister Emmanuel Iribi. Well, this directive from Justice Monica Mensom, the President of the Court of Appeal, was issued following allegations and petitions against state tribunal judges. I want your reaction to this directive, and do you feel it's the right directive, especially as most, if not all, the cases from the tribunal have been appealed?
Well, thank you very much for that question. You see, I'm not surprised, and it's not a new development.
Okay.
And this is not the first time that the President of the Court of Appeal been appointed to actually pilot electoral matters, both at the trial court and at the appellate court. Because one thing we should know is that the President of the Court of Appeal issues what they call practice directions on how election matters should be handled. Because, you know, election matters are sui generis. They're of a special kind. Okay. They're unlike our regular matters, which we see in regular courts. Yeah. So because they are a special class, they're expected to be disposed of within a time frame. Like the Constitution gives out the period for which a court or a tribunal should dispose of an election matter, which is 180 days. Okay. That has been expended. Yes. And now judgment has been delivered. And the person who is aggrieved by that judgment has only 14 days to appeal the judgment. And when the judgment is appealed, he ought to file what they call the notice and grounds of appeal, complaining about the judgments that have been delivered, whether rightly or wrongly, irrespective of how he feels about the judgment. Now, he only has 60 days in the case of National Assembly or House of Assembly election petition, 60 days from the date of filing to the date of judgment delivery for that appeal to be disposed of at the Court of Appeal, because that is the last bus stop for matters that concerns or relates to national and state houses of assembly. Therefore, it's only that of governor and the president that goes to the Supreme Court. So each of these appeal stages, you only have 60 days time frame to ensure that you appeal. You dispose of your appeals. Now, to the big question of why the transfer.
Is there right? Is it in order for such transfers to be made?
Very well, and I will explain this.
I really love to know.
Now, the president of the Court of Appeal is vested with powers under the Constitution as well as the Electoral Act to issue practice directions.
Wait, let's get it clear, because my listeners will really be asking those questions later when we open up line. So she has all constitutional powers to make such a directive.
Very well. Now, she's making that directive upon a complaint or a petition by some persons, particularly the litigants. You know, politicians can be very, very funny. Because now, like, come to the other states, since the delivery of most judgments in the other states, both of the governor and of assembly and other, if you were to be on the other side, which is agreed by the judgment, you must always raise insinuation that perhaps the state government have induced members of the panel, those decisions. So, of course, it's natural with human beings. So, I'm not surprised. So, if peradventure, they now think that, something has taken place or played out at the trial tribunal, then they have the right to write to the president of the Court of Appeal, which they have done, also persons have done, and in the interest of justice and fair play, because you will appreciate the fact that when the judgment of the Court of Appeal with respect to the Presidential Election Tribunal was being delivered, before the judgment was delivered, you saw this slogan, all eyes on the judiciary. So a lot of persons were like, they wanted to see the outcome of what the judges will say with respect to the issues presented before them. And ironically, those who were clamoring for all eyes on the judiciary, when the judgment was delivered for about 12 hours, some of them slept off. We saw the video, even including media men. So they could not even watch the judiciary very well. And judgment was delivered.
And anyway, that was on the lighter note.
Then with respect to whether the president of the Court of Appeal has that right to transfer cases, like I said, based on the complaints of persons, if she had not treated it, the same allegation would also be made against her that she has compromised.
But have we had cases whereby such directives were made before now?
Very well. This is not the first time. Like I said, if you look at the incidents in the Southeast, most of even the election matters, election tribunals, they sat at Abuja for security reasons. Because of course you can't go to a place. I've seen situation in states in the southern region, where proceedings were going on. Talks came and interrupted the proceedings. So if you were the judge, or the court staff, or the counsel, or litigants, will you be comfortable to go back to such a situation? So when such incident happens, and there is a clarion call to the president of the Court of Appeal, the highest she will do is to move everything to a secure place, which she has done. So it's not a strange.
Now let's also understand another reason why she felt she did so. Now we do know that the court president said having a few divisions handle all the cases will enable her. Because when she means few, now just those in Abuja and Lagos, will enable her effectively oversee the judges. But many will argue, should that be the case, that she has to effectively oversee the judges? Should they not be allowed to have that free hand to do their job as deemed fit? Because if they were not credible enough, why even have them to handle the cases in the first place? Because that's what she said. She wants to oversee them doing their job. Now, if you're not comfortable with how they've been doing their job before now, then come on, why should they be there?
Well, while I will not dwell much on that comment,
yes,
you know, when you say oversee, she's the president of the Court of Appeal.
Of course she is.
You understand? So, and definitely she issues directives, and the judges also give returns to her. To actually go through what they have done. So, by that statement, I won't lay more emphasis on that. Then, but on the issue of sitting at Abuja or Lagos, one thing we should understand: the Court of Appeal is one. Yes. All the divisions are just created for administrative purposes and convenience. That's what we should understand. So if the matters are transferred to Abuja and Lagos, what this simply means is that there are different panels that will be set up, which consists of 3 judges of the Court of Appeal. Which naturally will not be in the different state. Which, okay. Whether they are in different state or not, it's immaterial. They are judges of the Court of Appeal. First. Now they are being appointed. In fact, it's even better for the politicians, because now you won't even know who is going to be appointed or going to sit over your appeal. So are you saying before, yes, continue. Yes, unlike in other claims whereby you will know who the panel is and you start the judgment. Okay, now let's look at so now all of this started when some political parties and their candidates allege that the judges at the state tribunals have been compromised by these governors. So they believe. That is the allegation. Yes, those are allegations. Yes. But with now having them now being transferred to Lagos and Abuja, is this not an indictment of the judiciary itself? Well, that pre to these issues, because if it was free and fair, and most persons felt those rulings were credible, will not be having huge, and with our own findings, we heard that in all the 20 states that had most of the governorship appeals, almost 18 of them wrote to the president of the Court of Appeal, citing gross misconduct and also gross feelings, especially from the tribunal panel. So is this not an indictment, now shifting it from the state appeal courts now to Abuja and Lagos? Is this not an indictment of the judiciary itself being compromised? My brother, let me tell you something. You see, we have been with litigants over the years. Okay. Every lawyer must tell you, if are particularly politicians, you have to be very careful with them. When it's rosy, they give you praises. When it's not in their favor, they say otherwise. So all these appeals are not new to us. Particularly lawyers who are in election, who are involved in election matters. I have done some in past. I do know, and that's why we had to bring so it is not a strange. It's not a strange development to me. But like you said, talking about indictments. Yes, some persons may view it as an indictment on the judiciary. But you see, the judges is unfortunately that we have a system whereby the judges don't speak. They are not allowed to speak on issues like this. But they try as much as possible to dispense justice according to facts presented by them, and the law also applies to those facts. They are not magicians. Now, if a litigant have not presented a thought out case or facts presented to the tribunal or the panel, and at the end of the day, the judgment is delivered and you are not satisfied, the law gives you a room to appeal. And what the appellate court does is to review whatever that have transpired, look at the judgments, go through the record of proceedings based on the grounds, your notice and grounds of appeals. They look at the grounds. Okay, if there is merit in whatever you have formulated and brought before the appellate court, then they review it and give the actual position of the law. So if you are writing to say that a panel that you appeared before, a judgment was delivered, you are not satisfied, and you start raising allegation of inducement without proof, and all that, or because they sat in the state where you think that the state government might have induced them to have influenced their reasoning, then it's, to me, it's uncalled for. But however, that is their right. And they have exploited this medium. And the president of the Court of Appeal the president of the Court of Appeal feels different, and it feels most of these tribunals were not compromised. She would also give the directive that those appeals should continue in their various states. So in telling them to come to Abuja and Lagos, is it not also a clear direction that maybe some of the cases are genuine in petitions and allegations? You see, the points to be made here is very simple. Now, as a judge, you are an unbiased umpire. So it should be. you are seen as unbiased umpire.
So it should be.
So if the president of the Court of Appeal do otherwise,
yes,
the same petition will be written against her.
Why did she not make those directives?
Thank you very much. So the actual fact that, oh, she has been induced. You see, that's why I said that when you are dealing with politicians, even as an honorary man, you have to be very, very careful. These are people who will come and tell you they are going to do this, and when they get there, it's a different ball.
But we also vote them in.
So yes, so a lot of them, the issue of a vote to them is a different thing.
Right, let's leave that. Let's just stick with
the truth of the matter is that now a complaint has been made.
Of course it has.
By way of petition. That no, President of Court of Appeal, please, we are coming up. As we are coming up, we are not satisfied because of XYZ judgment, which is all right. Now, for security reasons and for interest of justice, because I'm even happy that they even added Lagos. I was thinking everything will go to Abuja.
Okay.
So now they should all leave their various states to Abuja and Lagos and monitor the process. So let them see those who are going to induce the judges or even the president of the Court of Appeal. Even with this directive, she's even on the beam lights. The beam light is being censored.
It looks as if all eyes will be on her.
On her too, because even when they've lodged a complaint to her, she also knew that she's on a hot seat. But however, the directive she's going to give to those judges, the judges who are already aware of what is going on, because no judge will trade his integrity because of some Ghana must go when you know you have a long way to go. So, but that does not mean that some will not do it. But however, we don't have proofs to that effect. But a judge who is being appointed to administer justice,
yes,
people who have come before him or her, that this is our case, and you present your facts. What the judge needs to do is just to apply the law to those facts based on your evidence, and he gives the judgment. So when you are not satisfied, which is national, the honorable thing to do is to consult a lawyer and take an appeal. So if you are now going to the essence of saying that no, the panel were compromised and all that, and you don't have sufficient proof of such compromise, and they've taken the step which they've done, the honorable thing for the president of Court of Appeal to do is what she has done. So okay, no problem. Every state at your own, even though it's not coming to you, please come to Abuja. And I even like the way she segmented them. So number of states.
19.
Go to Abuja.
The 19 northern states,
go.
Abuja.
No. In fact, I was even thinking that she would even,
states,
I was even thinking that she would even say the northern states should go to Lagos, so that they won't even raise the issue of that because Abuja is more of the northern extraction. They'll be compromised. So, but when she has a reason of doing it, but however, now everybody, every litigant, their supporters or whatsoever that may be able to conveniently go to Abuja and Lagos, let them be on a standstill and watch how things play out. So those who are going to some of the panel members' houses, they will see them and know whether they are going to induce them or not. But however, the best decision the president of the Court of Appeal have done is what he has done at the moment.
Now, at the moment, many persons are also, because you spoke about the moment, at the moment, many persons are also asking, what will make Abuja and Lagos even more credible? Yes, we do understand it's more of a neutrality as it concerns the different states. But we're still having judges that were initially alleged to have compromised still manning these courts. So, what's the credibility in Abuja and Lagos?
The issue of credibility in Abuja and Lagos, if you ask me, I can't fathom the issue of credibility. But however, I think, except they are telling us that we should go to another country to sit.
Okay.
So because if you say that Abuja and Lagos is no longer comfortable, then they should also tell us where the judges should sit outside Nigeria, and which is not possible. So, but I think the judge, the president of the Court of Appeal, has, in our own wisdom, put so many factors into consideration to have come out with at least to reduce the workloads of those, the venue and the panel member. So, okay, let it be Lagos and Abuja. I think it's a fair decision. But however, whoever that is not, because like I told you, this is the last bus stop from particularly election relating to national and state houses of assembly. For that of the governors, they are
might go up to the Supreme Court.
And Supreme Court, you only have it in Abuja. They said they are telling us that they should move the Supreme Court from Abuja to somewhere.
Before we think about moving anything anywhere, we need to go on a break now. And when we come back, we continue our discussion centered on that very directive from the President of the Court of Appeal saying that all appeal cases in the different states should go to Lagos and Abuja. But we're right here. Let's go on a break.